Witherhoard is good throughout the run, but it's super clutch on the boss for turning a choke point into a death zone. If you have a bow with explosive head or dragonfly, it'll help with the mini screebs, and we round that out with a linear fusion for the unstoppables and the final burn on the boss. We also had a stasis hunter with Monarque and a Thundercrash Titan with Vex. For armor mods, feel free to pause on anything if you're curious, but the TLDR is Protective Light with Taking Charge, and Elemental Charge with Fire and Ice, with Resonance Siphon to go with Stasis. For the resist mods on your chest, if you're newer to the run, I'd take Void Resist for the snipers and grenades until you figured things out a little. I eventually reached a point where most of my deaths were to adds, the boss, or mini screebs, which are all arc damage, so I swapped to arc. It'll also let you get away with some shit on the unstoppables and the overloads. Getting into the run, the first thing I'll note is there were a couple times in our runs where I survived a point-blank mini-screeb explosion through some combination of Arc Resist, Concussive Dampener, Protective Light, 60 Resilience, and the Stag. If mini-screebs are what you're having the most trouble with, stack as much of that as you can and hope for the best, because I was also left at 1 HP even when I did survive. Aim your Sparrow a little to the right going over this gap, and park it in a place where it won't blow up and kill you, and don't let the Unstoppable catch you off guard, it closes in fast. Moving forward, you're going to encounter your first pair of snipers. Most rooms in this Nightfall are going to have this set up in some form with 2 snipers in the back of the room, and until you've learned where they are, assume everything that isn't dead is a sniper. Try to be throwing your stasis turret as early as you can in these champion encounters. They'll get stunned more than enough times for Resonance Siphon to give it all back. With the next room, the mini-boss will cover the entrance in fire like the Knights in Lake of Shadows, so I default to running in behind this pillar that will provide a much wider range of movement and line of sight. There's a sniper on a perch to the left that will teach you the hard way not to ignore it. Always be prioritizing your targets. This Unstoppable can't do a whole lot while it's frozen. The sniper that stayed down there is a different story. Coming up to the tank room, most of the time I open this by popping super and clearing out the adds that will spam the entrance with grenades otherwise, but there's also more snipers to check, and these snipers in particular are assholes. They'll often wait for you to get bored and shoot at something else before they peek.
Alright, I've learned something new. My fucking...
The champions will be a stasis turret farm, then onto the plate. If you hop off before it's all the way down, the adds will spawn separate from the tank and make the whole room a lot easier. If you're having trouble holding out in this room off to the side, the entrance isn't closed until the tank comes. You can deal with these adds from back there as well. The adds on the sides of the room will spawn later than the ones in the center. When stalkers start challenging you on the staircase, an Unstoppable is close behind. I prefer to delete the close one instantly so that we don't end up running away from that one and into line of sight of the other one. This is another example of target prioritization with Frozen Champion versus Unfrozen Sniper. Make an ammo run, finish pushing the plate down, and go say hello to the tank. You'll want to be next to it when the bubble goes up, may as well head straight there. Continuing on, you have probably the most free kill in the entire run. I was referring to myself when I said free kill, though this one might take the cake for most free kill. Watch out for mini screebs, by the way. This whole run can be a troll, but sometimes it isn't the game's fault. Then we arrive at the Counterweights. Always be watching out for snipers in the back and proceed to farm the overloads. You can do the counterweights separately and gradually to avoid getting overwhelmed by stepping off when ads spawn, but once you've been in here a few times, spawn camping with Witherhoard is also a viable option. Between counterweights is a great time for an ammo run. Try to have some heavy saved for the mini-boss. It has a lot of health. If you stay far enough back, the mini-boss doesn't have enough range to reach you. Take it down first, and the overloads will be free real estate. Just take your time and... not like that. If someone be on some dumb shit and dies in a borderline unrecoverable spot, it falls on Stasis to make it recoverable. Moving on to the outside section before the boss, again we kill snipers before they kill us. There's a second one off to the right at the end of the bridge where the overload is going. Kill the barrel before proceeding to avoid accidental casualties, and have someone focused on the orange bar snipers in the back. If you're on stasis and don't have your grenade, you can farm stuns on the unstoppables. Speaking of free kills, never trust a finisher on a frozen champion, always confirm that kill. Now for the boss, here is a brief overview of what's going to happen. I'm going to say this up front, you don't want to burn this boss until the end. Everything that happens in this boss fight is happening at certain percentages of the boss's health. If ads are up, leave the boss alone until they're dead. For the first third of the fight, this isn't a huge deal. Shortly in, you'll have ads on the right side, not too long after that, you'll have ads on the left side. Don't be afraid to rotate if needed if you're running arc resist. With a little more than 2/3 of his health left, he'll teleport behind the barrier in the back of the room and send waves of ads after you. I feel like these phases are the biggest part of the struggle, and positioning can mean everything. When the ads spawn, they're going to go in one of 3 directions. They can go up the ramp to either platform or go straight down the middle of the map. If you want this to go smoothly, the entire team should group up at the top of one of the ramps. The Witherhoard covers the staircase in death as they continue to funnel through it, and that's as hard as it has to be. Make an ammo run if necessary when the champion is the only thing remaining. You can use your stasis turret to lock it down and farm it back, and do try to have it back. Stasis turrets at Witherhoard are your first line of defense against the unexpected. At around 60%, the boss will start doing the pull mechanic. When you get teleported, you'll keep your momentum, so if you're walking backwards when it happens, it'll take longer to get pulled in. The shield on the boss starts as arc and then switches to void. A little more damage after the first pull and you'll have ads on the left, then another pull, then ads on the right. At this point you want to start being cautious about how much damage you do to the boss. You're going to be alternating between ads and pulls, and if they overlap, it's almost a guaranteed wipe. Either you commit so much to not dying to the ads that you don't break the shield and get hit by the boss's stomp, or you commit to the shield and get dropped in the middle of an alien mosh pit. I'm pre-firing on the boss here so that Explosive Head gets a little damage in as we're being teleported. Try your best to hold onto your super for moments when you're dead if you don't use it. What you're about to see right here is what we call throwing. At around 40%, the boss teleports again for another wave of ads, and we are now down 2 supers. And for whatever reason, my team followed that with not grouping up on the platform, so I get to show what happens when the team is scattered during the ads phase. The thing about this choke point is, if your team is grouped up over here, you can afford a couple mistakes, and it's all good. You have 2 extra people there to hold it down if you mess up a Witherhoard shot, but if you're defending it by yourself, any single little thing that takes your focus off Witherhoard makes this virtually indefensible. The issue with that is, because the mobs have now dispersed throughout the map, I have nowhere to retreat to. I'm running from mobs into mobs. My spot is overrun, their spot is overrun. If you reach a last man standing situation, rotating is just about your only chance of survival. Don't forget to check your ammo and make a run if needed before the unstoppable goes down. When the boss reappears after the second wave, be even more cautious about doing damage. You're going to have adds around 31% and a pull at 30. I probably shouldn't have used Witherhoard on the boss here. I tried to make the call to stop doing damage, but it was already too late. The only way you're going to be able to revive someone in the center is by waiting for the boss to be animation locked from dropping a puddle. To get the other res, I position to take aggro so that my teammate can rotate around and get it. At around 20%, you'll have adds on the left, followed by a pull at 18. Now, if you thought the scuff was over, this takes the cake. Someone gets disconnected while we're being teleported. Right here, both my teammates are on my screen. And now, only 2 of us are tethered. I didn't realize this and made the call to burn. And the punchline is, the person that disconnected was the one that needed this for their gilded. Thanks for watching, good luck in there, and subscribe for more Destiny 2 content.